afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, the Breakfast Bankroll, your midday market report. Friday, October 1st. It is that time of year where October means the Fall Classic, MLB playoffs. We have some pretty big games in the NFL this weekend. I think something like Tom versus Bill, something like that. But we got some crazy MLB games to set you up for this weekend. But without further ado, I had to pinch myself 2 days in a row. The real Vegas Dave, the one, the only, Mr. Dave Sharapan. What is up, Davey?
What's going on, JD? How are you?
I am okay. It's been a crazy morning. I'm going to have to preface this again. Friday, landscapers, asphalt companies, and I have a 12-and-a-half-year-old puggle that doesn't leave my side and his ears once they hear something. So please, maybe it's an omen like I told Andrew this morning. The dogs are barking. Maybe that's a sign for us this weekend.
Yeah. Hey, we all look for different things and signs for things to help us for the weekend or to, blame when things don't go bad. But you can't blame the dog. The dog's going to bark. The dog's going to bark. That's all.
So we talked yesterday. So let's just get into last night's game, okay? We talked at length. The line was 6.5 when it opened. We knew the public would push it to 7.5, which they did. We talked about the team total of Jacksonville was 17 and a hook. Okay. I thought the key for Jacksonville to cover, do they get to 20, 21, or even 23? 14-0 right before the end of the half, and Urban decides to go for it. Could have easily got up 17-0. And you had to know if they went for it, which they did, and got stuffed, that Lawrence was going to keep the ball, which he did. He could have probably tried to get it out to Robinson at the end and been up 21-0, and the game, for the covering sake, would have been over. But it was Joe Burrow coming down the stretch, 3 straight touchdowns in the second half, and then they kicked the field goal for the game winner, 24-21. Thoughts on last night?
I only watched the first half. I as soon as I was done doing the shows, I left. So I came back and saw the highlights. Not surprised at all. It's just one of those ones that you kind of just know sitting in the book. You're like, Cincy can't be laying 7. Like, it just never felt right. I feel like after watching the highlights and watching the first half, the game probably should have gone over. So if you had under, you probably got to, thank the dog sitting next to you or whatever it is you have to, cash that ticket. But I don't know. That first leg of all the teasers and all the money line parlays is in Cincy. So one way they get there, however they get there, they get there. I was watching baseball, JD, and then I had to go throw batting practice and stuff. We had a big practice last night. We got a big matchup today here in the house. The 18U team asked Kelsey to play, and they're scrimmaging the big school, College of Southern Nevada. So I'm done today with shows with you. I got to go watch these kids play a doubleheader against each other for the first time in years. So I'm going to be making lines. I already told them at bat numbers. We got if she pitches against her, if she hits her, she ain't allowed to come home. That's it. If she hits, because she's going to say something, screwball got away and hit her right in the back. Like Kelsey already knows. She says, if she hits me, I'm going charging her mouth. I said, perfect. So that's what we're going to do today. That's I didn't really watch the football. I was focused on the baseball. The Red Sox made it super interesting now. We got to worry about this all weekend. They're playing Washington. I can't believe it. Seattle controls their own destiny. I cannot believe it. We're at this point. The Seattle Mariners, with 3 games to go, control their own destiny. Win all 3, you're in. Can't baseball's tremendous.
No, and that was where we were going to go. We're now 1-1, Mr. Sharapan, when you wear the Red Sox hat on our show.
That's why I didn't wear it today.
Well, maybe that's an omen. The Bucks are going to lose, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, we will.
So I was shopping around, and it's funny. I went to a half dozen spots. I was looking for some weekend series lines where I wanted to kind of pick your brain. So instead of trying to, because all the teams for the most part that need to win to get in are going to be big time favorites. So instead of going into the 160s, the 180s, or you can't go into the -$2 or whatever, do you think there's any value? Like if you got the Red Sox, who's playing Washington, I don't know, maybe -220, 225 to win the series. The Yankees, okay, I'm going to backtrack here. Some people think Tampa is just playing out the string to get their pitching set up. If Tampa doesn't want to face the Yankees, don't you think they want to try to win these next 3 games?
Oh, for sure. There's so many things going on in a major league clubhouse and dugout that we don't know about. And it's funny because you listen to shows and you listen to other people. I mean, and friends of mine, they say some stuff. I'm like, where are you getting this? Like, the Rays are going to lay down. Like, they're not laying down. Like, the guys that are out there are going to try to win the game. So, yeah, I think the Rays for sure would want to make sure they don't have to play the Yankees. Who wants to play that team? Because if you make a mistake, they hit it 450 feet. It's pretty much the whole line. Nobody wants to play that team. But, I mean, you got to play who's in front of you. I'm looking at I found a couple series prices here. The guys at Bet Online do it. -$3 for the Red Sox over the Nationals. It's only -165 Yankees over the Rays. The Blue Jays are -500. And the Mariners are -275. Wow. So, geez. I think you can find some value on serious stuff like that. The good thing about the American League is that it's probably going to go to Sunday. And like we talked about yesterday, the chances of there being a one-gamer to determine the one-gamer are, I think it's favored at this point. The way that none of them play each other, and they're playing teams that they're going to be favored against. So I think it's highly likely that there's going to be at least one. If they all 4 tie, who the hell knows what the tiebreaker is and how they're going to work that ladder up. But, yeah, man, I don't know. Just one day at a time. Let's get the Red Sox at least 2 of 3. That's because I want to see them in the mix. I don't want them to go what if they go to Washington and lose 2 of 3, let alone get swept? I'll be sick after all of this. That won't feel good.
And tell our buddy Matt at Pushing the Odds that the 98.5 crew already. I mean, listen, they have the perfect lead in for today. The Sox lose 2 out of 3 to Baltimore. Now they got the Nats, and then obviously Sunday night is the Pats Bucks, which everyone thinks the Bucks, have already won the game.
Yep.
And so honestly, this is how stupid these guys, the locals, are, and Matt can attest to this. On Monday, you could have a 1-3 Patriots team with the Red Sox out of the playoffs. So you're staring at a Bruins team who we know can't beat the Lightning. They're not as good right now as the Islanders and probably don't have as much talent as the Leafs. And then you got a Celtic team with a new coach. You got Brad upstairs and just a middle team as well. But these guys want this stuff.
Well, I mean, we're learning as the sports betting content stuff gets out there too. It sells. I guess it sells. I prefer not to focus on that. That's what the beauty of this stuff is about for us. Because, I mean, people bet real money on this. And, again, We always talk about bankroll management and, bet what you can afford to lose and all those other things, but it's fun. And like winning and losing and being right. I mean, for any of us, male, female, no matter who you are, background, you like to be right. So that's the betting talk. And the sports betting content is about the numbers. So when you hear that stuff locally, and I used to do it when I was in Pittsburgh because I was the only one 20, 30 years ago paying attention to the betting stuff, me and the bookies and the bettors. Like the guys on the radio had no idea what the lines were. And we had a guy that used to call in on a one show. They called him Mr. Monday Night. And I think he was like the intern. And they used to make a bid out of it. It was great. Maybe it was a guy actually betting, but I highly doubt it now looking back. Anyhow, that's the beauty of this. Is like we can have a conversation about, geez, I mean, the Red Sox are going to be, they're $3 favorites to win this series. That means they're going to win 2 of 3. Like, you can't have the conversation about them losing 2 of 3 without mentioning that they're sending 3 guys to the mound to win all 3 games, and they're going to be favored. The Nationals have, I mean, I don't know. I guess Soto may play, may not play. They'll be fine. Like, everybody relax. I don't know. It's that time of year where it's all melding together. I can't help you with your Celtics, though. Good luck with that.
So put yourself back into the risk room. You have all this development, and obviously we know that the NFL and college football rules the boards for the weekend, and us crazies are the ones staring at the baseball games and the potential of, I mean, I've already conceded that the Yankees are going to win the 1 spot. I've conceded to them. Okay. Yep. So what happens if Seattle, the Red Sox, and the Jays, all 3 of them are tied?
I don't know who plays who first, but they have to, I think they play 2 play to then play the 3rd, and then the winner goes and plays the Yankees. They may have to push the thing back 2 days. I don't know. I'll find out today, I'm sure. But, man, I mean, the Mariners got a 3-gamer at home against the Angels. Pressure's on. The pressure's on because they're probably – what are they going to do? Likely win 2 of 3. Very, very likely win 2 of 3 and could sweep. So the pressure's on the Red Sox. And Toronto just ran into the Yankees. I mean, them losing that one game they could have won yesterday was a big difference. So, I mean, when they get the Orioles, what are they going to do at home? This is so crazy. All 3 could tie. I know it'll be fun in risk rooms because you'll have single day baseball, most likely, by itself, which I know from a couple years in the risk room and in the books, when you have a day game during the week when there is no football and their hockey hasn't started yet other than the preseason at night, basketball's still a few weeks away, the handle's incredible. You literally go back to booking the games like you used to, where you can move it 2 cents. Just be 2 cents off, take a bet, move it back. You want to take a bet on the under, just move it 5 cents down and move it, and you just started getting action. And then people are coming in. And, hey, I'm going to watch the game. I want to bet 2 dimes on the game. Good, let's go. Take it. So, yeah, I'm excited. It's crazy, JD, because G2E is next week. And there's a zillion people coming to town. And they're all like, hey, do you want to set up a meeting for this and that? And I'm like, you guys know the baseball is going to be on. Like, I would love to hang out, but can we hang out at least somewhere where we can see the game? Because I want to watch the games. It's part of the joys of this whole thing endeavor that we're doing is we get to watch the games. It's always been one of my favorite things in life to do. I was, blessed enough to work in the books for almost 25, 30 years. I get to watch games. And now I get to talk about what I'm watching. No, I want to watch a game.
All right, you've had your tour of duty this week. I'm going to bring this up now, and I want to pick your brain on the college side before we get to the Patriot game. You've had a lot of shows, you've talked to a lot of people, and then again, there's marquee games, and what we try to do here at ECSI is we try to say, if you can stay away from those marquee games, you got a better shot in the long run, because those marquee games, they're just so much sharper, Dave. You try to go through the smaller games, and hopefully they miss something, or the less bet games, I should say. And
Yeah, like which ones are you talking about?
well, I when I was going to say I'm going to go to the marquee games, because I know you've had to have talked to a few people this week about them, and when I'm saying the marquee games here, we're going to scroll up here for 1 second. I mean, the Wisconsin-Michigan game, the Cincinnati Notre Dame game, the Ole Miss Alabama game. These are all games that, again, are high profile, big time schools. Any of your guys been talking? Hey, listen, when I talked earlier this week, the Cincinnati opening line at -1.5 at Notre Dame. Then it went to 2. My initial thought process is like, wow, Notre Dame home as a dog. But the mental part of it is, can they get back up after the Wisconsin game? It's tough to get back up to that level, especially the way they were playing in the second half and the fourth quarter, to now match a very good Cincinnati team, though that was Brian Kelly's former team. Then you go to the flip side. You got Michigan at Wisconsin. Wisconsin couldn't have played any worse than they did, especially in that fourth quarter. Are they going to lose 2 home games in a row? Here's a Michigan team that's looked pretty good. They haven't played a great schedule, even though they played Washington, who they destroyed. But now they're on the road, and they couldn't pass a 10-yard out between me and you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Alabama Ole Miss game that I've talked, and you talked about, 90, 100 points being scored, the first one to 50. Give me the Ole Miss team total over 30, 30.5, 31, whatever. I think Bama will get to 45, 47, but I think Ole Miss is going to be in there for some scoring. But what are you seeing this weekend, Dave, in the college?
Well, you hit on all those games. I mean, those are definitely the ones that, just are kind of taking the majority of the discussions. You could start with that Cincinnati game. This is one of those games where you have people coming up to the counter and they're like, wait a second, Cincinnati's favored over Notre Dame? Why? Notre Dame, this, that, it's everybody wants to be either, I don't know, smarter than everybody else. They take a Notre Dame. Look at it and go, oh, well, this is, you got to take Notre Dame. The book knows. I say it all the time. The book doesn't know. They put the line up and let the market tell you. I'm intrigued that the market hasn't moved yet. You're telling me you're getting legitimate, sides on both, or not enough sharp guys have taken Notre Dame in an obvious take spot. Okay. That tells me that Cincinnati might be the side. Let's see what else. I don't know. The Arkansas Georgia game is interesting, right? That's one where now it sure feels like either the odds makers missed a little bit and made this too high, and it's a public dog, or they know that it's a public dog and they're leaving it there, and laying 17.5 or 18 in a game. Some people will say, oh, that's square, that's this, that's that. Whatever it is, if it wins, who cares? So that's another game that, looking at going, okay, this one, it has that feel. I thought it was too high too. I mean, how can this be over 17? Arkansas looks like a legit defense. They all look legit until they play Bama or play a team like Georgia. I still don't know what Georgia is. Georgia's very, very, very good. We'll see how good they are offensively to be laying that number of points. And then this other stuff, I mean, like there's a lot of off the radar games that I know in the book we don't really address because nobody really bets them. So I don't know, like if there's other games that even like jump out to you, but I mean, like there's a late game Arizona State UCLA. I think it's a fascinating game. It's a 3-point spread. UCLA's favored. Oh man, a lot of people back east are asleep, and you got these two teams, and the winner of this game is going to be battling with Oregon to win the Pac-12. I'm leading UCLA in the game. I just seeing people that I talk to, who do you like? Who do you like? I mean, and it's almost like asking you, but it's other people. And whether they're betting or not, I don't know. Whether they're actually have a strong opinion or not, I don't even ask. That's the thing. Like everybody tells me stuff, and I just listen. And from years of sitting in the book, I go, okay, that's good to know. But I just, if I'm going to give out a game or talk about a game, it's usually my own opinion, not really based on anyone else's.
All right. We talked yesterday, and we've talked before about Circa. We talked about the picks. And we're coming into the final week of the first quarter.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I won't be a part of the check the first quarter. Interesting games, and I'm just using these odds here. I don't have the Circa picture up there. I know you take part in that. How did you mold it, or how are you molding? Any games jump out to you this weekend for the Circa contest?
No, I sent the text to my brother-in-law last night and said, I hate the games this week. I hope you can steer the conversation. And that was it. I do a lot of the work tonight when I look at it because I try to not listen. I'm best when I don't listen to too much noise. And there's way, way, way too much noise this week about the teasers, about the money line parlays. I mean, like the favorites. When you look at the board this week, JD, it looks easy when you're just looking at it. Without the spreads, you go, oh, okay, this team's winning, this team's winning, this team's winning. Oh, this maybe the other team can win. This team's winning, this team's winning, this team's winning. It looks really easy to me anyway. And then you look at the spreads, and it looks like hieroglyphics. It really does to me. I don't know. Like, I think I'm going to do my best to stay out of the marquee games in the NFL. Like the afternoon card, the games are so good, but so are the spreads. Like we're only in week 4, and the numbers are getting tight. Like I expect these look like week 11 lines. When it's the snare drum, and you could just one bounce of the ball or tip pass or one fumble changes everything, and it's that close to falling around the number. Can't be this hard this early. That's the way I see it. I don't know. So I'm going to try my best to come up with an opinion on, Giants Saints or Colts Dolphins maybe, and try to stay out of Rams Cardinals or Green Bay and Pittsburgh or the obvious game, Tampa in New England.
Well, I can't, let you leave here without talking about Pittsburgh, Green Bay. I think Pittsburgh was a second half away in their first game from being 0-3. I mean, they did not show up the first half. The block punt turned the whole game around. And then all of a sudden, boom, they beat Buffalo in Buffalo. And now Buffalo looks like that team that we thought that they were. And then you struggle the next 2 games. Ben can't throw it deep anymore. The sharper guys were on Cincy last weekend. I kind of like the spot that Pittsburgh's in for the fact that, again, they're going back out on the road. Green Bay coming off a huge emotional win. I think Tomlin and the crew this is their season. I think they'll be putting a great effort together. So if you're going to give me 6.5/7, and I think it's 6.5 on that card, and if Green Bay wins by 7 and get hooked again, I'll be very disappointed. But give me the thoughts on your Steelers.
I thought last week was the game that they were going to, circle the wagon, so to say, because they played so bad. They stole the game against Buffalo. Just stole the game. And then week 2 was against who? Was home against the Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah. Looked like just trashed. I mean, they weren't a lot of – Ben got hit a lot. A lot of what looked like not disorganization, but they just didn't look ready to play. And then, Watt goes out, a lot of injuries, everybody pulled their groin, and it was terrible. They go and play at home against Cincy. Okay, now we got a week to fix all that. The guys are going to be back. It'll be fine. It's not. So now, like you said, they look more like an 0-3 team than they do 1-2. And I mean, you're right. Everything you said makes complete sense. Do I think they can go to Green Bay and win? No, I don't. I don't think they're good enough. I really don't. I think Green Bay is going to hit Ben a lot again. Their inability to run the ball with any sort of sustenance, of any sort of consistency, is a bad thing, because then the defense has to be on the field too much. Ben can't – they're not even getting first downs. It's a lot of 3-and-outs. There's no threat to throw the ball more than 15 or 20 yards. It puts a lot on the defense. Well, if you give Rodgers and Green Bay multiple opportunities, I think they score. So I like Green Bay in the game, but again, that probably means Pittsburgh money line is absolutely live, because it's sometimes you're too close to it. Like, you watch it and you think you see stuff. But would it surprise me to see Pittsburgh win the game? No. Not – well, yeah, it would surprise me. Would it surprise me to see them cover? Absolutely not. 28-24, 27-23, somewhere in that neighborhood. Steelers have to kick a couple more field goals than the Packers do and don't win, driving late to win the game and, don't get it done. That's probably the way that game goes.
All right, here we go. So we're 30 minutes in. I've saved the last 10, 15 minutes, however long we go here, for the game. Okay?
Yep.
Back to the risk room, Mr. Sharapan.
Yep.
Okay? I am going to peel every layer here. Okay? How I dissect this.
Okay.
Okay? Vegas opens up Tampa, New England at 5.5.
Yep.
Okay? Which I had 6.5. You even said probably you would have done this at 7. Okay? I go to the team totals. 27.5 over -120. Patriots 21.5 under 125. And the over-under opened at 50, now 49 and a hook. Now, actually, basically on the Vegas Strip, 49. Okay?
Okay.
Let's do some basic math here. Like I said with the Cincinnati game against Jacksonville, can the Patriots get over 21 points? That's the key to the cover. Okay? They opened up the line at 5.5. Okay? They opened the under over at 50. Okay?
Okay.
50 and a hook. You're a smart man. Vegas initially is telling me this. Jeff, the final score here is 27-23.
Yeah.
Or 28-23. Okay? What's 28 minus 23?
5.
Okay. So it reminds me of the Super Bowl numbers. They opened the line at 5.5. There was only one way for this to go to 6, 6.5, now 7.
Right.
Okay. This game lands on 4 or less. Every buck ticket straight bet is a loss. Okay. Now your money line parlays, your teasers, this will probably be the biggest decision close to history. I'm hearing 93, 95% all bucks. Okay. So take us through this whole process and please explain to me how in holy hell they came up with 5.5 and why.
Well, it's pretty simple. You make the line to take the first bet. So again, it's two schools of thought. You make it less than 7 and take some Tampa money up because you like New England, or you make it 7. See, 7 though, once you get there, you don't want to get off of it. So they needed money on something other than 7. So they said 5.5, didn't last very long. Immediately bet 6.5. I was joking. I went to a couple places yesterday looking for these 7s, and I found a couple off the strip, and now everyone on the strip as well is at 7. So, yeah, the books are sitting there lying in wait, just saying, okay, just bet Tampa because New England's going to cover. We'll go with Belichick. We'll go with the defense, and we'll go with the home team. And that's basically what they're telling you. Now, again, they don't know everything all the time either. I mean, they have bad weeks. They have bad opinions as well. I think you would have been able to open this thing 6.5 if you wanted that Tampa money. You could have opened it 7. I'm betting Tampa now, 98%, 95%. Now, granted, keep in mind those numbers are a bit. When I hear that, there may be 6 bets on it, which means 5 of the 6 bets are on Tampa. Like there's not a mountain of money, in the pool. So it's you take the limits now lower until today. Today's when the weekend everything opens up. The limits are open, meaning you can walk in. If you take 50,000 a game, today's the day a guy can walk in and bet 50,000 on the game. Yesterday, he couldn't do that except if it was for the Cincinnati-Jacksonville game. Some places open the limits Thursday, but mostly it's Friday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's easy to put a line up and take 3 to 5 dimes. It's easy to do that. We could, if things ever go bad, we could do that again someday if we need to. I'm not saying we are. I'm just saying we could. But I don't know, man. Like you're there. I mean, does even the locals think that Tom Brady's going to come back to New England Sunday night and lose the game?
No chance. No chance.
No, there's nobody. So the books know that. That's why I'm surprised that they didn't open this at 6.5 with a little higher money line, because as it goes during the day, it's all you hear about all week. It's all you're talking about when you're one of the guys that are going to be there in the room for the game. Because a lot of times, the head guy will be there for the morning games, and then the afternoon games kick. Maybe he leaves at halftime, and of those games, he's gone. This is one of those ones where I would say to the boss, like, you got to stay. Why? It's Tampa and New England. This is the game. Somebody might walk into one of our places and want to bet this thing for a couple 100,000. And I don't want to have to call you on the phone while you're eating dinner. Sit in a chair and wait till the game kicks, please. If that's what you want to do. Like, I wouldn't leave if I was the boss. This is a big game. I would have opened it higher and used the money line to work. Like, for me, I learned, from a couple really good guys that did this. You can use the money line to get the bets. You don't have to use the spread. So you can move the money line a little bit higher maybe get some dog money and fade it that way. This is a dream for me. And instead we got to 7 and we're going to sit. This is going to be one of those ones where when the books are right on Sunday, New England wins the game or covers the spread. Man, oh man, Vegas knows everything. Those guys are so sharp, this, that, whatever. If it loses, they'll have these boxes of Kleenex, which I will have on every show that I do on Monday, for all the crying that the bookmakers are going to do because, they lost so much money on Tampa because they blew out New England. Mac got knocked out of the game. New England only scored 10 points, and Brady came in and put up 34 on Bill. Total finishes 44, 34-10, stays under, and the books cry for how do we beat Tom Brady? He's been beating us for years. Move the line. If you don't want 98% of the bets, move it to 7.5. That's what they mean. So you can't have it both ways. The books have it both ways. I call my boys out as much as I love them and stuff. I know how it works. I listen to a lot of media people talk to people about it, and I'm like, have you ever booked a game in your life? You don't have to have done it, but I know it helps if you have. That's what I'm saying about this game.
And the comical part is we've talked, 8, which they wouldn't do, obviously, for a Bill Belichick game. They wouldn't have opened at 8, but even 7.5 would have initially got some Patriot money. So let the initial bets get it down to 7. Maybe it even gets it down to 6.5 on Tuesday. But the Tampa money is going to be just coming like opening up more windows, because that's all I'm hearing is bucks. Question to you is, you have 20 years of Bill Belichick as a Patriot, so each week what you're going to get on the Patriots side. Okay, now I know this is the second year Tom hasn't been there, but does that come into play? Like they're saying, hey, listen, it don't matter that Tom's not there, because I read an email today from a very respected person in our lanes. They were afraid to post 7 or 7.5 from the bad guys, from the sharps, because they said they would have just pounded the Pats. That's what this email read. So
yeah,
does that 20 years of past history say, hey, listen, we know what could happen if we give a bad Patriot line? We got results right here that says, look at what kind of losses we were taking. Now, there's no Brady here, but does Bill and the Patriots still carry that? Well,
I think certain people do. It's not just Bill and the Patriots. It's just the number. It's a road. It's the fundamental thing. A road favorite on a night game back east. It's not really cold there yet, but there's a lot of things in factor. But yeah, Belichick, if you know you're going to get the bag guys to play it at 7, you can't give it to them early. You got to get all that money up front, and then you determine how much you want to give them. So I think the reluctance to put the 7. See, I'm the opposite. If they're going to play it, I want them to play it when I want them to play it, not when they want to play it. Right? This is the game back and forth. They get me, I get them in the book. All right, I got 7. What are you going to do? How about I got 7.5? Now what are you going to do? Are you going to play it? Now, there it is. It's Monday, 7.5. Come get it, please. So I know now. So I want to get to that number for them first. And a lot of places don't want to do that. A lot of places maybe say they do it. I mean, I know the guys that are doing this stuff. Like, I text them and talk to them, and it's awesome. Even like Rex Byers yesterday tweeted at me about he's taking New England. Well, of course he is. He's waiting as long as he can so he can get 7.5, and then he's taking New England. I said, why don't you wait till they're down 7-0 and then take them plus 13? And he's like, well, I think that's very squarish of you to even assume they're going to be down. What if they lead wire to wire? It's true. They could. But at any point during the game, you don't think Tampa's going to be leading? Have you watched the NFL? Like, Who leads a game wire to wire anymore? Nobody. So I think you can. I can't wait. It's going to be fascinating to watch. It's going to be exciting to watch. I'm not picking this game in a contest. I'm going to let my strategy with this stuff. I don't feel strongly about either side. I really don't. I mean, how's Brady going to go and lose? So now I got to worry about New England winning the game. They can win. Can they cover? For sure they can cover. I don't want to pick this game in a contest, but I'll root for the side that the majority picks, which I already know is going to be Tampa. I mean, I think it was 6.5 in the contest. So, you know what side you're going to get. That's a consensus pick. Tampa's a consensus pick already. Guaranteed top 5 consensus pick, Tampa. So when I'm in the contest in that situation, I just root against Tampa, root for New England to cover, and I don't have to pick the game. Now, if you go in late in the season, you do strategy-wise, you pick New England in that spot to try to gain 2 games. Everyone loses, you win, and it's kind of like a 2-game swing. But, man, I can't wait. I don't know. I mean, as a guy who's lived there, heard it, seen it, done it, the chicken or the egg, who made who, they made each other, blah, 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 blah. Are you excited to watch this game? Just as a fan. Forget about the line and stuff. Are you excited to watch the game?
Dave, and you know my story real well. I from back when I was a kid to that degenerate fool running from the North End to Federal Hill to New York City to pay A to B to collect from C. And this game, I would be running to the window and it would I'd have a stack of this many tickets. But since I've seen the light, and we're 7 years almost publicly with East Coast Sports Investors, the 2 things that I've always said in this business is you always got to bet with your head, not your heart, and you got to leave your ego at the door. So with this business and even the fantasy football end of it, I don't have any allegiance to anyone. The only allegiance I have to anyone is who's cashing the ticket today for me.
Right.
And that's the way I've always been. And so when the Pats were rolling and I got 30 people at the house at the Super Bowl, at the big screen, eating like kings and queens, and me and my accountant have the Seattle money line and for a lot of money. And Butler picks off the ball, and you got 28 people jumping up to high-fiving each other. And I'm just sitting there and they're like, "What's wrong, Jeff?" Great pick, good job. So I'm intrigued. As the longer this went, I always was a Bill guy. I think Tom is the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, even though John Elway is my all-time favorite quarterback. I love the guy. I love what he brought to the table. But as Tom got older, and it became TB12, it became Alex Guerrero, it became almost like Tony Robbins-esque. And I kind of faded away, and I'm rooting for Bill. I like an underdog. I like the story. Man, I would love nothing than to shut these a-holes up at 98.5 and WEEI this weekend by having Mac and Bill win this game, because there's no one thinks that they can win the game. None.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh, but I'm not a fan anymore. Like I enjoy watching the team, and I still have the most fandom to Penn State. And I just enjoy watching them because I went to school there and I have a lot of memories, and I love to see that whole thing just win. Like it's just more fun. That's all. And that Seattle Super Bowl, the book needed Seattle to win that game money line as well. And I had already left, but when they were, I was at a Super Bowl party as well where everyone had New England, and we were like, all right, just punch it in here, and I can quietly go, oh, all right, we're gonna be okay. Like everything's gonna be. And then when they didn't score, I was acting like I was like really surprised, but meanwhile I was like getting kicked right in the nuts. It was like, really? Did that just happen? And everybody was excited. That the person that won the square pool for $50, she was very excited. Like it was, and I was like, I couldn't even explain it. I was like, I don't believe that just happened. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what. I just want another good story. Like I hope the game lives up to the billing. Like I really felt strongly last week that the Rams were going to beat Tampa. Told everybody all week, jokingly drove around town and looked for anyone that liked the Rams. Feels like the same thing's happening this week. But I don't know if the Pats have the goods. I don't know if they have the goods, just the offensive capability. How do you beat Tampa? You play great defensively, but you still got to put up, I think, 28 points. You can't win this game. You're not going to win this game if, everybody stays healthy and plays the whole game, 17-13. I don't think it's happening. It's not going to happen. You got to get 28 points. I've seen a couple of these New England games, JD. I don't know if this offense is going to score 28 points against the Bucs. I don't think they can. I mean, unless they get a turnover to a special teams touchdown, obviously will go a long way and help. But when you just watch the games, they're still working stuff out. And working stuff out. Now, James White is out for the rest of the season and stuff. There's a lot of things working against them to win this game. I want to like the Patriots as well and be against the public and the world and this and that. But, man, this creamsicle's pretty nice. I don't know. It's okay. I respect Brady for what he does. And, I know how hard it is to keep doing it when they don't want you to. The guy has been, a thorn in Pittsburgh Steelers' side for 20 years. He just would not go away. Every time you got close, you play the Patriots, you're done. And I used to say it. Tomlin says the standard is the standard. That's one of his quotes. Well, the standard for me for a long time as a Pittsburgh fan, Steeler fan, was the Patriots. And they couldn't match it. Now you got an opportunity to go back and, kind of just punch that ticket. Like, yeah, I came back and beat you too, Bill. See you later. I think it's great. I think the storyline, the NFL delivers every time.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. You can't run on the Bucs. We know that for a fact. We have no James White now. You saw what the Rams did with Stafford to Kupp, 15, 18-yard outs. Mac Jones can throw those, but I think they have dummied down the playbook so much. Unless the conspiracy theory, Dave, is they've been holding back for this game. So can you see? They were talking, someone behind the scenes was talking about Mac from the shotgun all game on Sunday, which would be another new look. Hey, listen, we're not going to run Damian Harris down your throat because we know we can't run. Go back to week 1, Dave. Dallas waved the white flag in the first quarter. All right, I know Zeke can't do it. And so that could be a little eye-opener. Mac comes out in the hurry up from the shotgun on Sunday.
Oh, I love that. That I love. That if that's the route I actually like. Or, you got to kind of think, all right, what does Belichick got? What does he work? Because he always comes up with something. It doesn't always work, but he comes up with something. The Bucs you can't run against, right? Everybody knows that. They try, they can't. They try, they can't. What we're going to do? We're going to run against them. We're going to run against them. We're going to keep trying to run against them. Maybe that he tries that. I don't know. I just know that when he needs to complete that 3rd and 12, he's got to make that pass. And to make that pass, they got to have the time. The problem to me is that offensive line. It looks like, man, if they can hold off the pass rush, he'll make the progressions. He makes the reads, and he can make the throws. That's why they got him. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see. As much as I want to see Brady going against the Patriots, I want to see Mac and Belichick going against the Bucs. It's going to be awesome.
And the last conspiracy theory was Bill is going to say, Tom's not going to beat us. Play that back end shell and say, Tom, you can run the ball 40 times because we're not going to let you beat us. And so that would be Bill's way of saying, you know what, you didn't beat us.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I could actually see that happening, right? And Belichick goes back to those defensive roots. Like, look, this is what we're going to do. He's not beating us. So make those running backs beat us, Fournette and Tom Jones and whatever. Like, if okay, that's fine. We'll be able to keep it lower scoring as well. I think the whole thing plays to the under, does it not?
Yes.
The whole thing literally plays to the under. That, in my opinion. I don't know.
All right. Stage is yours. Tell everyone where they can find you. We've been scrolling at Sportsbook Considered Cash Consideration Show. Tell them all the shows, everywhere to follow you. YouTube, you name it, it's your stage, brother.
All right, so yeah, the Cash Considerations podcast is my baby, along with 8 in the Box. You can find those anywhere. Podcasts are available, as well as YouTube now. We have the Cash Considerations YouTube channel, which all the clips are on there, trying a bunch of different things. We're going to try a bunch of different things in the next couple weeks. I don't know. I got these kids doing all this stuff. It's available also on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. There's pages. Cash Considerations is the whole name of all that stuff. Me personally, SportsBK Consig on Twitter for Sportsbook Consigliere. Next week, we're doing a MLB Network again. I just got a text 5 minutes ago. Producers are setting up something for a playoff preview. So we'll be on the MLB Network talking about that every day, Monday through Friday, except this Friday. Today, I'm on Sports Grid and Sirius XM 204 between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock Pacific, 7 to 10 Eastern, talking about the games. It's called In Game Live. A lot of it, we go back and forth. We're giving out preseason hockey picks with the guys from Canada, Gabe and Cam, and then we go to, Donnie and Kevin in Philadelphia and New York, and then we go basically New York, and Scott Wenzel is a Mass guy. So he's a Boston guy. So we got it all over the place, but that's every day. Matt Peralt pushing the odds, Mondays and Thursdays appearances, Vegas Insider, recap Monday football show, all kinds of stuff. Just follow along on Twitter and you'll be able to see. I try to put all the appearances and things like that on there. So if you like it, you don't miss it. But if you don't like it, you can just scroll by it. I'm learning about this thing, JD. You just kind of just let the scroll go by, or I don't swipe left and right. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm past all that, out of that game. But if I did, you could have it right there at your fingers. So that's it, man. That's what we got. We got Breakfast Bankroll 2 days in a row. We just did a doubleheader. And you and I will talk about, we're going to try to do this thing. We need to visit daily just to see each other and, catch up on what's going on. But man, we got hockey season and basketball season coming. Oh my goodness.
I'm having flashbacks of last year. You're live and they're picking your brain at the end of the second period. The score is 2-2 and you're telling them to take the in-game over 6.5. And this is why.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's coming. I'm thinking about it going, in 2 weeks, the NHL regular season starts. Like we're not even done with baseball yet. So I forgot about how all this melds together. And then, you get to take a day off like today with the shows and the content stuff. And I get to clear my head. I'm going to be at the ballpark at the college. I'm going to post it on Twitter, a couple pictures, and watch the kids play, which is still my favorite thing in life to do is watch kids play sports. Absolutely.
I'm jealous.
I got a seat for you. If you want to come, I'll pick you up. You can come. We got a seat but we sit right behind home plate if we want, and we get a little sun. We can move up the baseline a little bit and, get in the shade. You got to wear a nice hat to keep your head from getting burnt. It's going to be a gorgeous day. It's really windy. I hope the wind's not blowing out because if it is, Kylie's going to have a little bit of an issue. Big consig better keep that drop ball down, because if she gets one up and little middle consig Kelsey hits a bomb, she got bragging rights for life. For life.
Sounds like a Friday afternoon Wrigley game, wind blowing dead center out.
I can't make the number until I get to the park. I told someone that this morning. They're like, well, who's the favorite? I'm like, I got to see what the wind is at the ballpark, because it's out in Henderson by the mountain and stuff. If it's whipping out to the outfield, we're in big trouble today. We've got to keep that thing down.
Well, listen, thank you. Blessed 2 days in a row. Everyone that listened, everyone that retweeted, and the reviews yesterday were amazing, Dave.
Oh, good.
They love you to death. They're like, man, bring that guy on every day. I was like, listen, if I could, I would. So anyways, so from myself, Jeff Dawson, Dave Sharapan, wishing everyone the best of days and even a better weekend. Always remember this, when wagering, wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone, reach out. There's an 800 number, and there's people out there that do care. So best of luck today. Cash some tickets. Don't get over your skis. And we will see you soon.